Howdy, everyone. Matt here. I got a question for you. What do you think the supply and demand is going to be for physical therapy by around 2040? Let's talk about it. All right, everyone, let me introduce myself. My name is Matt. I am Matt the PT, coming at you with another video on another topic of something in the physical therapy world, and that is the APTA supply and demand forecast from 2022 to 2037. Just going to want to talk about that because they made a post on Facebook the other day about it, shared a tiny little bit of information, and then people started ranting and raving down in the comments. And I just wanted to say that the people commenting didn't even read the report. And you can really tell by their comments because they contradicted themselves if they had read the actual report. I have a little summary that I have done of it, and I thought I would share it with you because I want to get your thoughts, your beliefs, all that, how we can be ready for all of this. So, now, what the post said is that there is an expected increase in demand for physical therapy. This says a 14.7% increase in the demand for physical therapy by 2037. And there are a couple reasons for this. One, the aging population. People getting older are going to need those rehab services. So we talk about it. You know, like I work in orthopedics, so I see people having joint replacements in just aches and pains and those things that they want to get addressed as they get older. We talk a lot about falls, fall prevention, fall care, just all those things as well. Again, this aging population. The baby boomers. I've heard that my entire life about the baby boomers when they get older and all this stuff that's going to come about as they get older. And yes, they are getting older and they're going to need those rehab services. Additionally, the younger population, and I have talked to people about this, that they see the younger population recognizing physical therapy as a way to prevent a lot of things. To say, hey, if I do physical therapy, I don't have to have surgeries. I don't have to have all these other things done. The younger population is recognizing that they can utilize rehab to keep themselves healthy, and they are utilizing that. Additionally, access to healthcare in general, that just reducing barriers. We have direct access that's going across the country in many states. They're changing forms of it. They have unrestricted in 20 some odd states, I believe. So people can access us so much better. I live in the South. A big thing that we talk about in rural areas is getting clinics into these rural areas because it's hard. There's a portion of the population that live out in these areas that don't have easy access to healthcare. And they said, if we could put a clinic out there, it can be a way that somebody can get into it and can help take care of any kind of the chronic conditions that they have. Now, granted, we're not diagnosing people with high blood pressure or diabetes or any of those things, but it's an access point. So maybe they have a clinic with a physician in it and you have PT in it. So you have those services. So it's just more people having that access to healthcare. So I'm saying, yes, there's going to be a big growth to it. Now, it does talk about there's a suspected shortage of therapists. Now, this is what most people were having the big, thing down there about all this, about why there's going to be the shortage and that the APTA never listens or pays attention to it. Again, if you read this thing, they hit those points that people talk about, or those people in that Yahoo other association that just whatever. So it is say that there is an expected growth in physical therapists. They believe there's going to be about a 16.8% increase in the number of physical therapists in the next 15 years. But still a deficit. They said, hey, we're still probably going to have a lack of it. Part of that is just people retiring. Again, our population is going to be getting older too, so you're going to have those percentages of therapists who retire. Also, you may not have therapists in all these areas. I know where I came from in Mississippi, there actually wasn't a lot of physical therapists in the area. I used to joke that we would just kind of rotate companies, that everyone would just work for different companies, and then over time you just kind of switch the companies around. We didn't have a lot of new people coming into the area, just in general. I mean, there was a PT and a couple PTA schools there, but often you get people who come from out of state or out of the area that would go to the school, and then they go back to their area. So you can see, again, you got this demand. You may just not have people in that area. And like I mentioned earlier, in some of these rural areas, some people don't want to live like that. Some people don't want to live really far out. They don't want to travel a long distance to go to work or to do those things. So, yeah, that can be the issue with trying to get people into some of these locations. Now, of course, there are the things of like burnout, just people just getting overworked. Someone did bring up that point. Yes, I do totally get that. There is the possibility that with an increase in the demands that companies can start just saying, we want you to do more. They put more of a work burden on us as therapists to say, you need to see more people, do all, bill more, do all, just that same thing that people have been saying for so long, that yes, that could be an issue. Now, for the people saying like, again, the APTA is not paying attention and do all that stuff, again, it's in the report. It's in it if you read it. So yes, it talks about things like policy changes. Yeah, there is effort with trying to get Medicare to quit cutting its spending, to quit cutting, what they pay for services. And many other professions are saying the same thing. I've talked about, I don't know how many videos so far to say, yes, we know that. Get your patients involved in calling their representatives and saying, force them to stop cutting what they pay, increase the pay on it, to let them know what that is doing. So yeah, seeing that yeah. It also talks about things like loan forgiveness. Now that's a big thing with student loans. Like, yeah, if you talk to people who work in schools, with the PT schools, people just, again, they talk all about the cost of school. The PT programs and the APTA don't set the price of what a PT program costs. Y'all know that, right? You know that, right? It's the university that sets the cost. I don't know why people are not going at these universities saying you need to lower your cost of school. It's not the PT programs that do that. Because I've talked to people who work in these physical therapy programs, and they say, yeah, we see that we're getting less applicants over time because, again, it's a big cost, and they are trying to lower their cost of school. They're trying to lower them by saying, hey, can we shorten classes? Can we do different things to make it where it is more cost effective for people to come to school? That is something that the schools are aware of. Yes, they are aware of it. For as much as people say stuff, this is what gets me. When people start trying to give these 10-second solutions, and I call them 10-second solutions, they think they're the only one who has ever thought of this. No, they are common things that they're trying to be a part of. And they've talked about in here things like loan forgiveness. Again, I can see that. I've known people who work in certain sectors of healthcare that you can get your loans forgiven if you work in public health sectors and those things like that. So yeah, it's all a part of it. Now, with this coming out there and reading it, I do think that really positions us in a very good thing, in a very good light. There is going to be this increased demand because, again, that older population is going to need rehab with all the stuff that comes on with aging, and that the younger population wants to do therapy. They want to do rehab. They want to do those things to prevent it. And I know I'm seeing that. I was just talking with somebody. I'm in my 40s. I'm kind of in that in between. I see I'm between the people that are retiring, and I'm between those new people coming into the workforce. And I see those people as they're getting older having the chronic issues, the aches and the pains, and they're going through surgeries, and they feel like they're getting slower, and they're saying, hey, I either want to keep active as long as I can, or I'm going to go have this surgery, get me back to doing this, or I'm reaching a new chapter in my life. Can you help me? They're reaching out and they're seeing that. And then likewise with the next the younger population, that they're saying, I saw what my parents and my grandparents went through. I don't want that. I don't want to have unnecessary surgeries because I saw them have that back surgery and they laid in bed all the time and they were on these pain medications and they couldn't do anything with me and they can't. I don't want that. And I know myself, I get so many younger people that are saying, teach me what I need to do to keep me healthy. Or they have these little aches and pains and things that come up that they're active. Hey, I sprained my ankle. My knees kind of bother me. Can you check me out? What do I need to add in? What do I need? And they utilize me as a way to say, hey, what do I need to do to keep better? They're not wanting the medications. They're not just searching for stuff online, because again, you start searching for stuff online, they get overwhelmed. They're like, I try all this stuff and I don't know. Tell me what to do. I have you as my therapist. I understand that you can help me more than anything. And I do think we are positioned very, very well. But I also understand there are going to be those issues. And that is something that we are all aware of. The APTA is aware of. We're all aware of it. We are all trying to correct it. We are all trying to do it. And it's important that we all do try to do that. And, you know, what they posted in there, more research needs to be done into these things. And the people that were commenting, why we need to do research, again, it's that 10-second solution. 10-second solutions are the stupidest things. Like I said, 10-second solutions, like if you tell somebody your problem, it takes them all of 10 seconds to give you a solution. However, they don't take everything into consideration because they don't listen to it. That's what you really need to do in these situations of understanding, okay, we are going to have a shortage, a predicted shortage. I want to talk about that here in a second. Why are we going to have that? What is the next generation's thoughts about this? What struggles are they facing? What things can we do to help that? And it's not just that grab the stuff off the top. What is the world going to be like? What are those things going to be like? And understanding. You want to understand, because again, this is what I feel like people do. They feel like, oh, here's this problem. Let's just throw a change at it. Let's just try to throw something at it without understanding. And then all you just end up doing is making these just wild corrections, and they may or may not work. Okay. And lastly, here's the thing. This is a prediction. This is a guess. It's a guess. That's what it is. It's not set in stone. It's not guaranteed to happen. Okay. It's a prediction. If you watch ESPN, if you watch any of that, don't they make predictions about stuff on there? They predict who they think is going to win, who's going to have a good game. Have you noticed when they, we had the Super Bowl not long ago, when people throw out who they think is going to win and they throw the score on there, how often are they actually right? You ever thought about that? You ever met somebody who does sports betting? I got a buddy who does it, and he makes a good living, not from the sports betting, just talking about what he thinks people should bet and how, and those other aspects so you could bet. I said, man, how right are you? He said, maybe 50%. Again, 50%. This, again, is a prediction. So many things could change. For the people that start talking about, like, the DBT was the worst thing that we ever could have done. Okay, again, hindsight's 2020. Okay, hindsight's 2020. When that came out in 2000, and all the work that had been put for it, you didn't know what was going to happen over the next 20 years. You didn't. We could talk about, like, right now. There is we have one administration that's in power right now in the U.S. government. That's going to change in 4 years. It could change again in 8 years. It could change again in 12 years, and in 16 years, and in 20 years. Things can change. Policies, all sorts of stuff changes. Okay? We don't know what's going to happen. Heck, 20 years ago, would you have thought that you would be sitting on your phone or your tablet or your computer and listening to some hillbilly talk to you about physical therapy? Did you ever think that was a possibility 20 years ago? No. We don't know what is going to happen. You try to do your best things with the best guess that you can do. But things change. Some things you can control, some things that you can't. That's what we need to keep in mind. This is a prediction. It's not set in stone. It's not guaranteed. It could come out better. It could come out worse. You do try to be very conservative with these things. I have learned that. If you try to say, oh, it's all going to be sunshines and rainbows and, farts and all that stuff, and it's all so wonderful. No, you need to be grounded in reality to understand there could be setbacks. There could be changes. There could be something that happens that derails everything. And you have to be ready for all of that. Just to say, okay, what is the worst case scenario? What's the best case scenario? And we work from everything in between. You have to keep that in mind with these kinds of predictions. They're not set in stone. And heck, even if you look up job predictions on there, I looked that up, it said that they're right like 67% of the time. So again, you have a 50-50 shot of being correct or not with some of the stuff with a flip of a coin. So this is probably a little bit better than a coin flip. But really, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know. Okay? So I would suggest that we do those things to try to make it as good as we can. Again, talking to policymakers, talking to your representatives, let them know about the struggles and the issues that you have as a physical therapist, as one of their constituents. That it's hard for you to run a business, how your patients suffer because of cuts and things that they make over here. Talk to them. They want to hear from you. Let people know about those things, okay? And do your best. And again, and also, again, before people start trying to be negative and stuff about physical therapy, also not all of us see insurance. That's another thing. So again, if insurance all goes to crap, people still pay out of cash. There's still a lot of cash-based therapists out there that will do all that. So again, there's a ton of world of stuff out there. So anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please hit that thumbs up button. Consider subscribing to the channel. It doesn't cost you a copay or anything. And of course, let me know your beliefs, thoughts, comments, whatever that. Just share them down there. Let's talk about that and have a discussion. So with all that being said, take care of yourself. Take care of your patients. I'll see you next time.